I'm back. I just got home from work, so if you see me looking kind of strange, kind of nasty, kind of exhausted, that is why. So I wanted to tell you the story about how this all happened, like how I got to get my nose done. So I already knew I wanted to get my nose done, and I wanted to get it done by my birthday in 2021. Actually, the initial idea was to get it done by 2020, but of course the pandemic happened, and I had actually seen a doctor right before the pandemic hit. I went to see him through this co-worker of mine. She's not my co-worker anymore. I've actually found out a lot of sketchy stuff about her, but you know, she told me she used to work for this doctor, for this plastic surgeon years ago, and so she told me, yeah, go to him, he's so good at what he does, and he's gonna give you a discount. So I had a visit with him in March 2020, like right before COVID. It was like the beginning of COVID. Everything went well, he was good, he was, you know, very kind. But during the pandemic, I found out a lot of stuff about my coworker, and you know, she was just kind of trying to get everyone against each other at work, and I really didn't like that. And we also found out that she had been lying about stuff. So, you know, I didn't really trust going to her doctor. I mean, I have nothing against the doctor, but you know, I just didn't want to go to her doctor. Obviously, because of the pandemic, I had to postpone the whole nose job thing, and my new goal became having it done by my birthday in 2021, which was in May. Back in December 2020, I started looking for plastic surgeons who specialized in rhinoplasty in my town, or you know, near my town. And I found this guy, this doctor. I saw his website, and it was really cute because, you know, he had all these illustrations of this guy with a big nose who wants to get his nose done, and I don't know, he just looked really funny, really cute, and I really liked that the website gave me a nice feeling. Like, I mean, you know, when you're gonna have surgery, you don't really want everything to seem so serious, so heavy, you know, you don't want it to feel heavier than it already is. So I really like the fact that he was using all these fun, cute illustrations on his website, and I also really like the pictures of his work. Most of the noses that I saw on there looked like the nose of my dreams. So I decided to contact him. I sent him an email and I was like, hey, I would really like to get my nose done, so when can we schedule a first visit? And he replied back, and we scheduled the first visit for January 2021. He's not from my city, so he came to my city. He actually has like an office here too, and I went there with my mom. I actually wanted to go there by myself, but my mom really wanted to meet him and, you know, see how she felt about him. She's very protective, so she came with me too. It was actually on her birthday. She came with me, she met him, she was there during the visit. We both spoke to him about my nose. I asked him everything I had on my mind at the moment. I asked him many questions. I told him about all my insecurities with my nose, and he took pictures of my nose. Like, he asked me to remove my mask for a couple minutes. He took pictures from every single angle. So he took pictures like from the front, from the side profile, like from underneath. Like, he took pictures from all angles, and I felt really embarrassed because obviously I hated my nose. I hated having people look at my nose. So I was kind of like, then he told me that if I wanted to get my nose done and I was 100% convinced, I had to get some tests done first. So I went and got an x-ray of, you know, my head and my nose. I think it's an x-ray, you know, where they can see. Yeah, I think it's an x-ray. And then we scheduled a second visit in March, like early March, and I actually went to his town this time because I didn't want to take time off of work. You know, I already knew that I would have had to take time off of work for the actual surgery. So I went to his town on a Saturday, and we met up at the hospital he usually receives visits at. He showed me an edited picture, like based on the pictures he had taken of me on our first visit, and he had kind of edited my nose to make it look a bit smaller, and I kind of liked that, but it was really straight, and I was like, okay, can we just, push the tip up a little, just a little more snatched. He was like, yeah, sure, we can do that. And we also looked at my x-rays, and he saw that I kind of had like a small deviation of my septum, so I would have needed a little bit of work on that too, like to fix my septum, because I was also breathing really badly. I had been breathing, well, not really breathing, I hadn't really been breathing well since December 2020. And I thought it was just because of my allergies, but turns out it wasn't, because I can breathe just fine now after surgery. So I guess it was like a mix between my allergies and my deviated septum. So yeah, we had the second visit, and I also went around this beautiful town by myself for the afternoon. It was a really nice Saturday. It was really relaxing, like the weather was pretty good, and there was no one around. That specific town was like in a red zone because of COVID. So I was able to go there because it was, for medical reasons, but there was no one around. Like there are usually so many people there, especially in the city center, but there was no one around that day. So I actually really enjoyed going there, just hanging out, walking around the town. I had a really good time, except for the fact that I missed my train back home and I had to buy another ticket, and it was really expensive. But other than that, the day went pretty well. On that day during the visit, we decided that the surgery would have taken place on April 30th, 2021. So the day before surgery, my mom and I drove to the location because it was not in my town. Again, it was in a whole other region, like I would say like 3 to 4 hours away from home. So my mom and I drove there. We had booked a hotel for the night. Well, not really a hotel, like it's a hotel, but it also has apartments. So we were in an apartment. We went to the hospital where I was supposed to get the surgery the next day, and we had to get COVID tests done. We had to get, a swab, and I also had to take a pregnancy test, and I had to give the people from the hospital my other tests because I also had to take some blood tests and stuff while I was still in my city. I was super nervous and excited that night. First of all, we had to wait to get the results from our COVID tests because my mom was gonna sleep with me at the hospital the night after the surgery. So we both had to get a negative COVID test. And we were super nervous because the hospital people were like, if you don't hear from us before 6, that means that everything's okay and your COVID tests are negative. And so we were really nervous, but we didn't hear from them, so that meant that we were good. So the next morning, I had to be at the hospital at 7 a.m. Surprisingly, I was able to sleep that night, the night before surgery. I thought I wouldn't get any sleep, but I actually did, which is weird because I usually don't really sleep when I'm so nervous and so excited about something. I slept through the night. The doctor had told me that I couldn't eat or drink anything, like starting from midnight the night before the surgery. So I didn't have any breakfast that day, and we drove to the hospital and they showed me my room, and it was so beautiful. It looked like a hotel room, like a very nice luxury hotel room. I had a balcony with glass. We had 2 TVs because, the room was both mine and my mom's. It just looked so good. Like I had never seen a hospital room that beautiful. So they show me the room. I'm pretty hyped, I'm pretty excited. And then the surgeon also comes to the room because we had to discuss the surgery a little bit before actually going into the surgery room. I also had to sign some papers because, they were gonna put me under anesthesia, like completely. So I had to sign some papers and talk to another doctor. And then the nurse gave me this kind of like, it was like a gel soap, like an antibacterial gel soap. And he told me to wash my whole body and face with it in the shower, and then I was gonna put on this kind of nightgown. So I did that, and then they came and they put me on, a little bed, and they took me to the surgery room. They put the needle in my vein right here on my wrist, on my left wrist. And the people in the room were all very kind, very nice and friendly. One of them was like, "Oh, so I hear that you're a makeup artist," and I was like, "Yeah, I am." We kind of had a little conversation before they put me to sleep, and they were like, "So we're gonna start like giving you some kind of substances and stuff," and they were like, "And then we're gonna let you know when we're gonna start with the actual drugs." And so at one point they were like, "Okay, so you're gonna feel a little bit of burning, but that's totally normal, and then you're gonna fall asleep." And that's exactly what I did. I felt like this kind of burning sensation going from my wrist up through my arm, and it kind of just stopped here, like on my face, and I was knocked out. Like I just fell asleep instantly, and next thing I know, I was kind of, well, I wasn't really opening my eyes because I just couldn't, like my eyelids felt so heavy. But I remember hearing someone say, "Okay, we're done, we're finished," and I was like, "Okay." I was kind of just mumbling, I couldn't really speak well, so I was like, "All right, okay." And then I heard the doctor, he said like everything went good, everything went fine, and I was like, "Great." And someone told me, "Yeah, he gave you a really nice nose," and I was like, "Yay, good." And someone else told me, "Oh, we noticed that your skin is very sensitive." I was like, "Duh, I mean, I'm basically see-through, of course my skin is sensitive." I remember this kind of beeping sound that was annoying the hell out of me. It was like on my left, and it didn't seem to stop, and then it stopped after a while. I was like, "Thank God," like in my mind. And also I had shivers in my legs kept contracting, and someone told me, "Yeah, it's normal, it's because of like the difference between the heat and the cold or something." And someone asked me if I could move a little bit so they could move me to the other bed, like not the surgery bed / table, but the bed that they were gonna use to bring me back to my room. And so I did that. I was kind of like, I remember everything. I was not like super drugged, but I was kind of drugged, So they moved me to this other bed. They took me to my room and they put me on my room's bed. And my mom took a couple videos of me like kind of waking up from the anesthesia.
Poi guardi di volo
E poi?
vuole al labbro, cioè come se vi fossi volta al labbro.
Per il resto tutto bene.
Sì, al naso solo un po' di fastidio. Vabbè, lo sento che sanguino proprio.
I was, just kind of trying to speak. The sensation I had was I could hear everything, I could understand everything, but it was kind of hard for me to talk, like to get my words out there. And I also couldn't really keep my eyes open, so I would try to keep them open, but I was just kind of like this, and then I would close them again. My mom was like, "Open your eyes," and I was like, I just can't. I didn't feel any pain really. I only felt some, like a little pain in my bottom lip, as if I had bitten my bottom lip, and that was because they told me it was because of the tube that they put in my mouth, like in my throat, and my throat was also kind of hurting, but not that much. And both of these pains went away in just a few hours. I slept there that night. I had to call the nurse every now and then to replace the gauze I had under my nose to stop the bleeding. Well, not really to stop it, but just to prevent the blood from running down my face, basically. So he changed my gauze a few times, and then in the night he was like, okay, you can do it by yourself now if you feel like it. And so I started doing it by myself, and I had like a first glance of like the bottom part of my nose, because this part was covered. Like I had a little cast piece on here on the bridge of my nose, well, on most of my nose, so only like a part of the tip and the bottom part were out, and I had to, you know, keep putting this gauze on here to absorb the blood. And so that night I kind of had like a first glance of this part, and I was like, that looks weird, because like it was all leaning towards one side. I was like, that doesn't look right, and it still kind of looks like that right now. I don't know if you can see that, but you know, it's not like very straight, and I hope that will kind of settle in time and it won't look as weird as it does right now, but we'll see, you know, because they open your nose here. You can see the cut right now. I still have stitches on. So they open your nose right here, they do like this incision, and then they kind of just get your nose up with hooks to perform the surgery, which must look horrible. I didn't see that, obviously, but I've seen some drawings and that was enough. This is where they open your nose, they cut your nose, and then they put stitches on there and also inside the nose. And I've seen that there are many different kinds of incision, and the kind of, I just bet, the incision that my surgeon did is like kind of like a nest shaped incision. It kind of goes like this, so it's not straight and it's not V-shaped. And I mean, it already looks better than it did the night of the surgery, because that night, like, it was all like leaning towards the left. So when I actually put my first gauze on by myself, I kind of tried to put it on in a way that it kind of pushed the nose in the right direction. Like I was kind of trying to push this part in the middle a little bit more towards the right, because it was all leaning towards the left. So I slept there that night with my mom. She had her bed, I had mine, obviously, and I watched Friends on my mom's laptop because I don't have a laptop. I watched Friends until 3:15 a.m. and then a nurse woke me up in the morning at 6 a.m. to give me some drugs in my vein. And then a few hours later, like at around, I would say like 10-ish a.m., maybe 9, this doctor came. He's like a colleague of my surgeon, because my surgeon was performing surgeries somewhere else that day, so he couldn't be there. Oh wait, I forgot. The night before, so the night of the surgery, my surgeon actually came to my room at night, like in the evening, not at night, but in the evening, to, you know, just check on me and ask me how I was feeling. I said I was pretty good, you know, my nose was all stuffed, so I could only breathe through my mouth, obviously. I was like texting my friends and stuff. I was sending voice messages sounding really nasty. So we kind of exchanged a few words, and then he just went home, and he was like, tomorrow morning you're gonna see my colleague, because I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be performing surgeries elsewhere. Next morning, this colleague of my surgeon comes to my room, and he's like, okay, so these are the things you gotta do these upcoming days. These are all the medicines, drugs, whatever you have to take. This is the cream you have to put on the incision. And so he gave me like a list of things to buy and to apply every day. And he also said, you know, if you feel any pain, you shouldn't feel any pain, but if you feel any pain, take this painkiller, and he gave me the name of it. I never had to use it because I never ever felt any kind of pain, you know, except for my lip and my throat the first few hours after surgery. Like, that was it. I never felt any pain in my nose ever. After meeting with this doctor, I was ready to go. I was free to go back home, and I I actually wanted to stay there for a while because the room was so beautiful, like it was such a nice place, but my mom kind of wanted to go away. She wanted to go home. She doesn't really like to drive for hours, so she really wanted to leave. And so we drove back home. I kind of tried to eat something, to eat like a sandwich on our way back home, and it was pretty awful because I couldn't taste anything, like absolutely anything, and I also couldn't really open my mouth that much. I could only open it like this, so it was kind of hard to chew and to eat and to taste anything. And I love food, so that was kind of hard on me the first few days, but then I started getting my taste back again, with my nose kind of starting to breathe again, with air passing through my nostrils again. So yeah, we drove home. I was kind of like trying to sing to songs. We were listening to 80s songs in the car, and I was kind of trying to sing along, but I couldn't really well because obviously I was still not talking very well. By the way, I did have a few bruises under my eyes. Nothing major, but I did have bruises. They were all purple the first few days. And yeah, I mean, it was mainly this side, so the right side of my face, not that much on the left side, but the bruises didn't really hurt. I didn't really try touching them that much, but you know, when I changed my gauze, I didn't really feel anything. I kept changing my gauze for like I would say like 3-ish days, like yeah, 3 or 4 days, and then I gradually started to not keep it on all the time, because I did want to try to, you know, breathe again, and I wanted just, you know, my nose to get some air, to get some fresh air. For the first couple of days, I had my gauze constantly on, and then I kind of, you know, tried to get it off for a while, then put it back on, and then off, and then on, until I finally was able to, you know, just stay without it all the time. The day I got back home, so the day after surgery, I was still feeling very dizzy, very tired from, I guess, the anesthesia. I took a shower and then I instantly fell asleep for hours. Then the day after, I saw a couple of friends. I saw my best friend who lives in the same building as me, and another friend came to visit us, so we watched Disney movies, we watched Tarzan, and we had a pretty good time. You know, I liked the fact that some of my friends came to visit me. I spent a week and a half at home, just, you know, recovering, medicating, and seeing friends that were, you know, coming to say hi, and my boyfriend, of course. The recovery was pretty chill. I didn't really have any kind of complications. My nose did bleed for the first 2 or 3 days, and then it gradually stopped. Like, I had like some blood and mucus all together. It was kind of nasty, but it eventually stopped, and then I also started breathing again. I was so excited when I started kind of breathing through one of my nostrils. I was like, I can kind of breathe. And then, you know, I just started breathing like normally in a few days. So yeah, that was pretty much it. And of course I had to take some medication and apply some cream on the incision. And I'm still doing this. I also have to like spray this kind of salt water in my nose about 5 times a day. And until a few days ago, I also had to spray this kind of gel in my nose right before sleeping, and I've stopped that now because you only have to do that for 20 days. So it's been over 20 days, so I'm done with that. I only have to spray the salt water now for just a few more days. As you can see, I have no bruises left. I had like a small bruise on here until a few days ago, but it's totally gone. Also, I had my cast removed after 8 days. I went to my surgeon's town again, and my mom and my best friend came with me, so we kind of, you know, had a walk around the town again. This time there were a lot more people because that town was not in a COVID red zone. We were actually able to eat outside. We had an amazing lunch. We had this poke bowl. So yeah, I had my cast removed 8 days after surgery. It all went well. I looked ugly, like my nose was so swollen, and I had so many blackheads and pimples and whiteheads. on my nose, because of course, you know, I had this cast on for 8 days, so your skin isn't really gonna breathe that much. So I had like all these blackheads and whiteheads. Like I had like 5 whiteheads that I popped that night. I mean, I didn't really pop them because I wasn't gonna, you know, press on my nose. Of course, it was fresh out of surgery, but like as soon as I touched them, they kind of just popped. Yeah, nasty stuff. Removing the cast didn't really hurt at all. My surgeon was very delicate, very gentle. Also, he did not remove my stitches. I still have some of them, but I think they're just gonna be absorbed somehow by my skin, or they're just gonna come off. They sometimes come off. A few of them have already come off. The last one was, I think, yesterday night. He also told me that if I find like long pieces of stitches, I can just, you know, just cut them. I don't like, I can't pull them, but I can cut them. But yeah, so that's it. I went back to work 10 days after surgery. I was doing pretty good, so I was able to work with no problem. Of course, like keeping a mask on at work, it does make my nose more swollen, and I can feel it. Like I can feel some pressure when I have my mask on, or when I'm hot outside. Like if I walk for a while and I get hot, I can feel pressure in my nose. I can feel that it kind of starts to swell up a bit, but nothing crazy, you know, nothing that I can't bear. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm still recovering, you know, the nose is still swollen. The swelling is gonna go down some more, you know. It takes months and months to see the actual results, but yeah, here's my nose, my new nose, and I still don't like it 100%, but it definitely looks better than it did before getting it done. So I'm not like, I can't say I'm 100% satisfied with the results right now, but I have to wait and see how it looks in a few months. So this is how my nose looks from the front. I know it looks weird from underneath, but it does look better than before. It looks kind of, you know, softer now compared to how it looked before. I really wanted it to look a bit softer, and it does. The only problematic part is here in the middle, but I hope it will just fix itself with time. And this is how it looks when I look down. And this is how it looks from the side profile. It's still long, and I hope it will get shorter with the swelling going down, but who knows? Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A and story time that I filmed on 2 different days, and I'm gonna see you soon. Bye!